Excited tonight to welcome Lillian Berg School here today, and I know they're very excited to be here to present this evening. But before they begin, I would like to introduce Kelly Scully, and she is the administrator of Lillian Berg School, and it's her first year out there, and she's been doing some great work out at Lillian Berg School. So they're all here to share our project they've done at Lillian Berg School. It's a fantastic school. We have some fantastic kids here today to talk all about a project at the school. I'm going to turn it over to Kelly.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Like Carol said, we are all very proud of our Buddy Bench project that we had out at Lillian Berg this year, and we're very excited to tell you about it. We brought 5 student representatives from our grade 3-4 class who are going to explain the project to you, as well as their teacher, and their teacher is Miss Megan Gadd this year.
Hello, I'm Erica Spence, and I'm going to tell you the inspiration for our project. It all started when we started reading a book called Wonder. It was about a little boy named August, and he had facial differences. His eyes were lower, he had one big ear and one small ear. He had a cleft palate and could only chew with the front of his mouth. And he was going to school for the first time, and going into grade 5. And when he got there, he was lonely. The next step for inspiration was an article that Miss Gadd found on the news, and it was about how another school had a buddy bench and what they did with it. We had a discussion about it and decided we were going to get a buddy bench. Those were the 2 things that inspired us to make buddy benches. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Karen Campbell, and I'm going to tell you what a buddy bench is. A buddy bench is a friend-making machine. A friend-making machine is something that makes lots of friends. Kids can sit on the buddy bench. Anyone can sit on the buddy bench. You go there when you are lonely and sad. Someone comes over to ask you to play with them. A buddy bench is on the playground where we can see them. I think every school should have a buddy bench so no one is lonely. Thank you.
I'm Derek Henry, and I'm going to tell you how the buddy bench works. You sit on it if you don't have anyone to play with. Then someone will come and ask you to play with them. If you see someone on the buddy bench, remember when you were lonely and someone came and asked you to play. So you do the same thing, so everyone will have someone to play with. It's brightly colored so you can easily see someone sitting on it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Darius, and I'm going to tell you about the design and the placement. For the design, Miss Gadd gave everybody a paper bench and to color of what they thought the bench should look like. We picked Kayla and Erica's bench because they were both brightly colored. After we were done painting the benches, we used a permanent marker to write our names on the benches. For the placement, we put the bench on the little kid side by the SOS bin. On the big side, we put it by the play structure on the benches. Hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm going to tell you about the activities we did for the buddy bench. First, when we found out about the buddy bench, we had to do all these activities to put the buddy bench at our school. So first we had to raise money, and for that we did a bake sale, and there was this amount of money that we had to raise for one buddy bench, and the high school was going to make it for us. So at the bake sale, we doubled that money, and we had a little bit extra to pay for the paint. And then when we put it outside, we put one of them by the SOS box on the little side, and we put another one on the intermediate side by the other benches. And then we had to show everyone how it worked, and by that we made a video on iMovie. This guy put us in groups, and when we were done the movie, this guy sent them to the teachers, and the teachers showed the classes. Then we went around the school and told the kids how it worked. These were the fun activities we did to make the Buddy Bench project happen.
So one of the things the students did, like Courtney just said, is they had to make a commercial to advertise and explain how our buddy bench worked. So this is for other students, and this is the commercial that they created.
I am ready all the time. And the hey look, there's Kid on the Bunny Bench. You guys want to come play with us? Okay. What game should we play? I would say, I'm it! We are all BFFs.
So that's just one of the commercials. They all created their own in groups, as Courtney said. All I gave them was the basic outline. They made their own scripts. They had to decide how we were going to break it up, and I filmed it. From that, they went on and they had to put it together, and it was a really great project. Why I chose to read Wonder to my students is because I read the book in the summer and I fell in love with it. I loved the way that the author wrote. She took the different perspectives of the students and how they interacted with August and how they felt. So there was one kid who went through a battle of trying to be with the cool kids and doing the right thing, being August's friend. There was another girl that she was just going to be there for August. She saw a kid staying alone, she went and played with him. So it's just really neat to go through those different perspectives, and I saw all the different lessons that could come from it. The morals, the idea of inclusiveness, and just being there for each other. So, as Eric had said, I had found this article about a little boy in BC, and he had made a bunny bench for his school. So when I read it, it immediately made me think of Wonder. So I presented it to my students, we read the article together, and I told them, I have a text-to-text, a text-to-meeting connection, and I'm relating it to Wonder. What do you think it is? And we had this big discussion, and we talked about if August had a bunny bench, he wouldn't have felt so lonely those days. He would have had friends right away. And we got to the big idea that we can make a buddy bench. We need a buddy bench at our school. So from that, I found the writing connections we could do, the math connections, media literacy, making the posters, advertising, all the learning skills that could come into play, and especially drama, role-playing, and making it happen. The great part about it is I really wanted the students to take that ownership. That's why I presented it to them, for them to come. I gave them the connection. They made it into what they wanted to do. And through that, we co-created all these rich, authentic tasks. So there's lots of cross-curricular things happening, writing, media, art, drama. In writing, they had to do so much brainstorming and collaborating together. I made them think about things, well, what are people going to ask us? How is this going to happen? What might it look like? Their very first project was writing a persuasive letter to Mrs. Schooling. Because they said, can we just build a buddy bench? Can we just put that out there, or do we need to get permission first? So they came up with their reasons why, they gave me strong examples, and together we wrote a persuasive letter. So now they know when they go back to write a persuasive letter, why we do it, how it's purposeful, and they can come back to this experience. They also got to play with emails, which they loved. They were writing emails to teachers saying, can we come into your classroom and talk about this project? Can we share this with your class? Can you please tell your class we're having a bake sale? They emailed their parents and communicated with them about what was going on in our classroom. They emailed Mrs. Scully, can you put things on the announcement for us? Can you do this for us? And they saw the purpose behind why we email as adults. They also wrote procedures explaining how everything was happening. How do you make the bench? How do we paint it? How do we know where to put it? In math, our focus was mostly with money. They wanted to have a bake sale, and that became their whole project. They wanted to bake, they wanted to raise money. We have to pay for this bench, Miss Gat. That was their idea. So we learned the value of $1. When they came up with their bake sale, I asked them, well, what are you going to sell it for? How are you going to make money? So we talked about why you can't charge $5 for a cupcake. Kids don't have $5. So there's the value of the $1. They were making change because they were running it. And then we had to roll the money, so they had to sort. They're seeing why we classify, why we put it into different groups. They're seeing how we group money. And they're purposely skip counting. They're taking those rolls of $25 loonies, and they're seeing, oh, this is why I count 25, 50, 75. This is why I count by 50s and I'm counting toonies. In media literacy, they made that commercial like they just showed you. All I did was show them how to put a clip into iMovie. Then together they explored it, they played with technology, and they created the video. It was really neat because I think it was Derek. He found how to put music in. I had no idea how to do it. And they're like, hey, how did you do that? How did you get music? And he taught them, he taught me. So we were those true co-learners. And it also led to discussions about, why do we put music in commercials? Can the music be really loud? What's going to happen to your message? So we were constantly critically thinking about it. They were co-learners all together. We learned from each other. We learned together. We found out answers to things. They took risks in the classroom. They weren't afraid to say, I disagree with you, or I don't think we should do it that way because it's not for a boy and a girl. That's just a girl design. It needs to be for everybody. They collaborated to work together, and they took a lot of responsibility and ownership. Even just the bake sale, that was seriously, it was all of them. They did every aspect of it. In oral language, we did lots of presentations. So they practiced for a presentation that was to all adults, all of you here tonight. They presented to kindergarten classes, to grade 8 classes, and understood how we can't talk the same way to little kids as we talk to big kids, because they're not going to understand us. And they learned about effectively sharing messages, not just going on. They have to know their information, or the kids are going to lose interest. So it was really rich, and it was such a great project in our classroom because it was theirs. They took ownership of it. They saw the purpose behind everything we had to do. Every piece of writing, they understood why we're doing it. They saw the big picture of it. They felt safe to take risks in the classrooms, to share their ideas, and not be upset if someone said, I don't like your idea. They followed the 4 C's of the 21st century learners. So they were collaborating, communicating. Critical thinking was embedded in almost everything that we were doing. They had to reason it, they had to justify it to me. And they were extremely creative. So it was just really great because we were all cool learners. I got to be a facilitator. I got to push those discussions a little bit further and really listen to their ideas. And they were true leaders in our school starting this project. Even out on the playground now, if they see